Welcome to the Life of KG, your ultimate destination for all things motivation and business insights. Join me, Katie Godfrey, serial entrepreneur and the brains behind the KG brand. Along the way, we'll welcome inspiring guests and share invaluable business tips to fuel your growth journey. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. With that said, let's dive into the world of success together. Join my 2027 retreats. Oh my gosh, if you haven't been on one of my retreats, you need to come and join one. And in 2027, we have Dubai in April and we have Bali in October. Dubai, think business strategy and mindset, and in Bali, think healing and mindset. They're both going to be very different and equally incredible. So if you want more information, let me know. The link is below. But also, I know it feels ages away, but the spaces go ridiculously fast and we're putting long payment plans in place. So make sure you grab your space today. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Life of KG. Now, I wanted to do a really quick episode for you guys today on VAT and tax. I know. Like so many of you are freaking out about this, especially obviously UK businesses. So this is mainly for my UK girls. It's rubbish. I know it is. Like, it feels really scary as well. Now, I did an episode on this years ago. I can't believe we've been going for like 8 years now. That's crazy. So I think it's like on the first year I done a tax episode because it was a big thing then, and it obviously still is now. And so I thought, let me do an updated one because it's needed. So as we grow and as we make more money, obviously we're going to need to pay more tax. Unfortunately, that's just what it's like, as much as it's rubbish. But I remember when this happened to me, bear in mind, all of my companies in the UK are VAT registered. And obviously here in Dubai, everyone goes, oh, have you moved there because of tax? Like, no, we still have tax and we still have VAT to pay. It's just not as much as the UK. So we still have to manage this, right? So we've been paying VAT now for maybe over 12 odd years. And when I first went VAT registered, my gosh, I absolutely freaked out. I remember calling a team meeting. I remember saying, I don't know if we're going to make it. I made it all very drastic. Like, it was just a really big thing. I honestly can remember this team meeting so clearly. And it was terrifying. I was like, I feel like there's no money left now. So what you're telling me I have to give 20% away? Like, how am I even going to give 20% away if I don't have the money now? And I got myself in a right circle. So to help me with that, I just made sure that I was really, really good at managing my money and putting my money away, which is obviously why we've recently brought out the Salon Success Manager app to help you with your money and finances. Now, lots of you are still resisting the Salon Success Manager because you're scared to look at the numbers, because, you know, you feel like you don't know this part of business. But I can't stress to you enough, if you are hitting VAT, if you are close to this threshold, you have to do this, otherwise you're going to get in trouble. Now, I can say, hand on heart, I've never had to owe VAT. I've never been on any type of payment plan, and we've always paid thousands and thousands into VAT. Now, that's because I managed it through what I teach on the Salon Success Manager, but I've managed it and I've put my money away every single week. Now, if you wait until the end of the month to then transfer your VAT money, or even worse, you wait till the end of the quarter when it's due, of course you're not going to have the money. Who would have the money there? You spent it. Like, so you need to make sure that you are putting it away every week, because that will feel like a much smaller chunk than putting it away monthly or, God forbid, quarterly. So just make sure you manage that. Now, I want to go over the few things that I'm hearing to help you guys. One of those is the accountants are saying to stay under the VAT threshold. Like, what? Don't do that. But it does depend on obviously the type of business that you are or business owner you are. And what I mean by that is, what do you want from life? Like, if the accountant is telling you to stay under, are you done then? Is this how far you want to grow? Because if you are, then obviously that's fine. You can stay as you are and there's no more growth. But if you want growth, then you need to go past a threshold, not just stay under. That's absolutely ridiculous. So you need to make sure that you're like, do you know what? I have got this far. I am taking, for example, in the UK, currently as I'm recording, £90,000, I think it is, a year. I'm taking £90,000 through my business, which is an incredible achievement. If I'm taking this, imagine what I do if I'm ready to scale now. Maybe this is my time to scale. Maybe this is my time to really put everything into my business and go to the next level. Because yeah, okay, the more you earn, the more tax you'll pay. And I hear that all the time, but so you're just going to stunt your growth instead of like being stubborn and just not paying VAT. So if you're happy with where you're at, then yeah, stay under the VAT threshold. But if you're not and you're like, I've still got so much in me, then skyrocket past it, honestly. Don't let the VAT stop you. Don't let the VAT scare you. So that piece of advice, you can tell, don't really agree with it. So yeah, sorry accountants on that one. But definitely, I think we have to have this point of celebration, like celebrate how far you've got, like, and if you're managing it accordingly, then you'll be absolutely fine. The other dangerous thing that I'm seeing all the time is you're dismissing the fact that you're nearly at the threshold. So then what happens is you're nearly there, but then you forget that maybe you've gone over it. And then before you know it, you owe that. Now, you need to make sure that you're keeping track of your numbers so then this doesn't happen. We need to make sure that you are, if you're nearly there, then you're already putting yourself in a routine to put in a VAT aside and pretending you're VAT registered. Then when you do become VAT registered, it's not such a scary thing. Now, I always feel like I'm the accountant in many of my clients' businesses because I look at their numbers and I'm like, you need to be careful now because you're nearly close to the threshold. And they're like, oh my God, am I? And I'm like, yes. So let's manage this. So if you're hovering above the VAT or below the VAT rather, then you need to make sure that you're managing that now, okay, and really looking at these numbers. Now, you don't have to like swallow the 20%. You can pass that on to your clients. You can add that into your services. You can do that pay rise. Like you'll have to do that price increase. You'll have to do that because you can't just be in a service-based business like we are and then just give away 20% of the income. Like we just would never survive. But then saying that, you also need to be aware it's never 20% that you actually pay. So you'll be able to claim back on whatever your expenses are if that has VAT attached. So if your rent has VAT attached, you can claim that back. Some people's rents don't, some people's rent do. If there's any stock you're buying and it has VAT attached, you can obviously claim that back. So a lot of the time, most of the time, you're not paying the 20%. I think on average, my CFO said it's around 15-14% that you might be paying. So that might just ease you a little bit. The other thing to think about is, and another mistake I see, is people going on the standard rate of 20% rather than the flat rate scheme. Now, this again depends on your business, but in the beauty industry, if you're on the flat rate, that means you get 13% currently as I'm recording, 13% for the first year that you give away to the VAT man, and then it goes up to 14% ongoing. Now, you can only do this if you can only register for this if you're taking, I believe, £150,000 a year, okay? If you're already in the flat rate scheme, I think you then have up to 250k to make before you have to change to 20% VAT. But if you're already taking 200,000, you can't then go to the flat rate scheme. You have to be under 150 to go onto that. So that's currently as it stands at the moment. Now, some of you will be running businesses where you can't claim back loads of VAT. Maybe you're buying stock of Amazon or suppliers that don't have VAT on.
I am so privileged to know the inside of so many businesses, hundreds, if not thousands. And the one thing that loads of people struggle with is numbers. We make so much money, but then it's gone by the end of the month. We don't know where it's gone. We don't know our outgoings. We don't know our incomings. We don't know our profit margins with the treatments, which is an absolute must if we are running a business. I have been working long and hard creating an app that is for you to make sure that you know your numbers inside out and become the CEO you really need to be. So make sure you check out the show notes below and find out more.
Maybe your rent doesn't have VAT attached, so then that will mean that you don't have loads of VAT to be able to claim back. So you're most probably better off going on the flat rate scheme. Whereas some businesses I look after do have loads of VAT that they can claim back, so it's much better to go on the 20% standard scheme. So you'll have to talk to your accountant because they'll be able to see what your income is and what your outgoings are and what you can claim back and which one would be beneficial for you. So definitely make sure that you just know that you've got options for both. So they're things that I need you to look at. The other thing that I see, which really frustrates me a bit, but sometimes we really blame the accountant. Now, don't get me wrong. We have had situations with many of clients that I've worked with in the past where the accountant has done the dirty. Like, they haven't kept an eye on what they signed up for. Like, these clients have signed up for the accountant to keep an eye on things month by month, and that hasn't been the case. So yes, for sure, this does happen. But we also have a duty to keep an eye on what is going on within our businesses, to make sure we're keeping an eye on that turnover, to make sure that we're paying our VAT, to make sure things are done. So we need to make sure that we just take that responsibility. So we can blame the accountant, we can blame HMRC, we can blame all of those things, but ultimately you need to take control of the finances and know the baseline. Now, so many people are scared of the numbers, and I get it. We're not mathematicians. Guys, I'm dyslexic. Not very good at numbers, yet I've just created an app on it. It's knowing the basics of numbers that you need to know to run your business. And, managing VAT is one of those things. So we can create the blame and all of those things, but we do need to take that back ourselves and have control over the VAT, the numbers, the filing, and all of those things. The other thing that I see a lot is people in defaults with their VATs, payment plans, or sometimes even just trying to just avoid paying it whatsoever. Now, sometimes these things can't be helped, especially when they're sprung up on us. And if you haven't been managing your numbers and have been relying on the accountant, these scary stories do happen. And I think this is why people are so scared of that, because they're struggling to get out of the situation that they're in. And I completely get that. And I feel so sorry for so many people that are in this position. It's awful. We've had some real horror stories. And I think that's why I'm so passionate on this, because I have got myself in such a good routine and always have been in that routine, and I've not loved it. God, there's been times where there's way more money in the VAT account than there is in my current account, and it's annoying as hell. But because I've always had it there and I've been able to manage it, it hasn't killed me off. So I'm just do you know what? It just is what it is. But when we're trying to chase our tail with payment plans and defaults, it can really feel like a huge thing. And if you're in this situation, then I send you so much love, and I'm always there for you to reach out to me and, let me know what's going on, and I'll see if I can help. Because I absolutely love the whole, trying to help with money management situation in your businesses. Because I truly care on this situation. But I need you to try and get out of this somehow, not keep going in the defaults, not keep doing the payment plans. How can we create a plan to get you out of this hole? Because we can. I've done it with many, many clients, but you have to be willing to be able to do it. So just don't deter from, paying, because unfortunately it does bite us on the bum. I have seen many businesses get in serious trouble because they're just avoiding paying it. So we just want to be careful of that. Now, one of the other things is people don't know how to actually pay the VAT. Is it on redemption of sales or is it on the actual sales? Now, it's on the actual sales of treatment. Okay, so whatever goes into your bank, you need to pay VAT on. It isn't whether that treatment has been taken up or that course has been taken up. If that money has hit your bank, then you need to make sure that you pay VAT. Same with lots of medical treatments. That might be scalp treatments, that might be skin treatments, that might be laser, whatever that might be, aesthetics. If it is a medical reason they're having it and a doctor has performed it, or a doctor has given permission, then you may be able to get it VAT exempt, but you need to check that out with your accountant because I don't know the do's and don'ts on that. But just because you feel like it's classed as a medical treatment, it doesn't mean that it's VAT exempt. So just make sure you do your due diligence on that, because I'd hate for you to get in any type of trouble regarding that as well. So just bear that in mind. So yeah, like I know it's really rubbish paying VAT, and I know, like, imagine how good business would be if we didn't have to pay it. I think that all the time, but we do, and hopefully this lessens. But my guess is it just won't. But let's just manage it how we can as business owners. Like, don't be fearful. Manage it, and let's just grow. Like, let's just scale even more, because if we're going to be sitting on it, that's when it can affect us. If we're just sitting on the threshold and we're paying VAT, but then there's no growth. So if you are going to go VAT registered, then we need to make sure we push you and we scale you even more. So then you're like, do you know what? It doesn't matter, because ultimately we're making way more money now than if we were sitting underneath it. So just bear that in mind. I think I've covered everything. I don't think I've missed anything, but just be mindful, because at the moment it's £90,000 you can make before you go VAT registered. And I know what question actually I'll get from this episode will be about price increases. And I know I just briefly went over it, but if you are going VAT registered, just put your price up. It's not a scary thing. Like, everyone is expecting it in this day and age. We need to raise our prices quarterly. Like, most people are doing it yearly. It's just not enough. Like, we need to make sure we're rising our prices, and it's not as scary as you think if you put certain methods in place. So just put the price up. Then it won't affect you whatsoever. And remember, you can claim the VAT back. So if you are looking at maybe giving away 15% of your earnings, and put your price up 15%. If you're like, my gosh, I can definitely not do that, not a chance, then do it 10%, and then you're just going to lose 5% extra off your earnings, rather than thinking you're going to lose 20%, because that's not the case. So I hope that helps. I hope that eases you. If there's any questions regarding this, please reach out. My DMs are always open. And if you are in some type of rut, a hole, something's happened with your accounting or whatnot, then just let me know. I have amazing experts that I work with, so I can refer you to people I do truly trust. And then, we can go from there. But sending lots of love. Keep smashing it. If you are on this VAT threshold, you will be absolutely fine.